This video is going to be an overview of how to use the WordPress post editor to create your own blog posts. When you log into WordPress, you end up in the WordPress dashboard, which is the page that we see here. In order to start blogging or making your own news posts or articles, you need to start looking at the post section of the dashboard, which you can see in the left-hand menu here. If you click that link, you'll get a list of all the posts that have been previously made on your website. Now, this is a brand new website, so we currently don't have any posts. In order to make a new post, we can hit this big Add New button in the Post section. You'll also find an Add New button in the left-hand sidebar menu and a big New button across the top bar, which lets you create a new post. So it's very easy to find where to make your post. So let's click one of those Add New buttons and it'll take us to the Post editor. So this is the WordPress post editor. It's relatively straightforward, but I'll break down each part of the page one by one. At the very top here, under the text Add New Post, we have the title. So this is where we want to actually put the title of our post. So you can put anything in there. Obviously, it's entirely up to you what your post is called. Once you've put that title in, you'll notice that this will suddenly appear below it, this text that says permalink. So all that means is it's a little preview of the address of this post once it's been published. So currently the post isn't published, so that link doesn't do anything, but it's showing you where this page, where this post is going to go. Now, if we keep looking down the page, we get this big box here. This is the main content area of our post. So we can start typing in here, and this is where we can actually start putting in the content, the body, all the text that's going to make up our actual post. So in this box is where you can start typing. I'm just going to fill it in with some filler content because I don't want to come up with anything creative. This box has a few elements across the top that are important to pay attention to. The very left here, we have a drop-down box that says paragraph. If you click that, you'll see that there's a drop-down that comes out that outlines heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, and so on. You can use this box to add headings to your content. For instance, if I want to have a subheading in front of a particular paragraph, I pop that text in, and while my cursor is inside that word or sentence, I can use this drop-down menu and choose a heading size. Once I've done that, the piece of text turns into a heading. If you look across from that drop-down, you'll see that there's bold, italic, bulleted list, numbered list, and a few other options. You might be tempted when you're making a heading to write your text in, highlight it, and make it bold, but it's actually better practice to use the heading drop-down to make elements into headings. The reason for this is partially for design consistency and partially for search engine optimization reasons. If you look further across this top bar featuring all your editing options, you'll see a few more that you can play with. They're mostly recognizable, such as the italic, dot points, and numbered list options. You also have alignment options where you can align the text left, right, or center, but typically text is most readable if you leave it left aligned. This link here, this little icon represents a link, so if you need to make a piece of text in your content into a link that will go somewhere else, you can highlight that element and then click the link icon, and then you get the ability to either paste in the address that you want to link to, or if you want to link to an existing page or post on your site, you can type in the name of that page or post and WordPress will attempt to detect that for you. Quickly pop in a link. Once you're done, you hit apply, and that piece of text will transform into a link. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, there are a few other options for this particular page. If we start from the bottom and work our way up, we'll see featured image. So featured image allows you to set an image that is going to act as the default image when people are viewing your blog and seeing this post. So for example, if they're viewing a list of all of the blog posts on your website, most designs will allow for an image next to or above the blog post. So here is where you can set that. If you click Set Featured Image, you get this big box that pops up. This is the Media Library and Image Uploader. You'll see that there are two tabs across the top, Upload Files and Media Library. So if you've never uploaded an image before, you're going to need to upload one from your computer. But if you have uploaded an image before, you'll be able to find it in the media library. So every image you upload onto a WordPress website ends up here. So I'll just grab an image that we can use for example. All right, so I'm going to drag in an image from another location on my computer. Once I've done that, the image will upload. I get a few details about the image that appear on the right-hand side. And when I'm satisfied with the image that I've picked, I choose Set Featured Image right down here at the bottom right. And that featured image box will actually end up appearing full of that image. I can also actually add images into the body content of my post. So I might have a featured image that represents the post, but I might want to also use images throughout the text. If I want to do that, I simply put my cursor where I want that image to appear in the body content of the post, and I click this Add Media button that appears above the main content editor. If I click that, I actually get a very similar box to the one that I just saw when setting up the featured image. I have the same tabs across the top, Media Library or Upload Files, but now that I've actually uploaded a file, I can see that in the Media Library. So I can actually reuse that image that I've already uploaded. When I choose to add an image into the content of a post, I have a few additional options, which you'll see on the right where it says Attachment Display Settings. I can actually choose whether the image is left aligned, right aligned, or center aligned from the alignment box, and I can change its size in the size box. So I have a few options there: thumbnail, medium, large, or full size, which means the original size it was uploaded at. I'm just going to leave it at medium. And once I've done that, I can hit Insert into Post, and I'll see that the image actually gets added as part of the content of my post. A couple more things on the right-hand side. If we move back over here, we have these two boxes labeled Categories and Tags. These boxes allow us to add organizational information to our blog posts. Now, depending on the goals of your site, you might use just categories, you might use just tags, you might use neither, you might use both. So it's up to you whether you want to use these organizational tools to manage your content. If you put your content into categories, users can navigate to those categories and see all the other posts that have the same category as whatever post they've come from. So categories is the most straightforward way to organize your content. So you want to add a category by clicking Add New Category. You can give a category name like News, and you hit Add New once you've done that. And that category will then appear in the list of available categories. Once you've added a category in this way, it will always appear in the list down the track. So next time you make a post, the news category will be available. You can also actually have your post in multiple categories if it falls across multiple topics, or it can technically be in no category, but it will automatically get categorized as uncategorized if that's the case. You can also use tags to organize your content. The idea behind tags is it's a bit more loose of an organizational tool compared to categories. You might have a site that has sort of 5 main categories and they're quite rigid because they form part of your site's menu and that kind of thing. But with tags, you're sort of encouraged to use as many as you want. You don't have to be so rigid with it, and you might tag a post with dozens of tags if you're so inclined. So you can put in a tag by typing it in and hitting enter, and it gets added to the list of tags on this post, and you can just keep adding as many tags as you want. Obviously, you don't need to overdo it, but that's how you actually add tags. The last box I want to draw your attention to on this page is the Publish box, which appears at the top right. Now, the Publish box lets you control a lot of things regarding your post, such as whether it's published or not. In our case, it is not yet published. So if I hit Publish, it's going to become live and available for anyone on my site to see. If I'm not ready for that yet, I also have this button up here, Save Draft. If I click the Save Draft button, what will happen is my post will be saved to my site. So if I leave this page now, it's saved and I won't lose anything. However, it's not publicly available yet. So the only way to get back to this post, if it's a draft, would be to come to the dashboard of my site and click Posts in the left-hand side, in which case I would see it in the list of all my posts for my site. I can click back in and then continue editing. So I definitely recommend saving your posts as drafts often so you don't lose anything. Also down here, you have the Publish Immediately option. By default, whenever you hit Publish, your post will be published straight away. If you don't want that to be the case, you can click this Edit link next to Publish Immediately. Once you hit Edit, you'll get this box that will come up that will allow you to actually edit the date and time that this post will go live. You can actually change the date to be in the past if you want to have this be a post that looks like it was published months ago or days ago, or you can set this date to be a date in the future. So if you want to schedule a post to be published on a day that you're not available, you can use this tool to do that. Once you've chosen the date you want, you can hit OK, and it will actually change from publish immediately right here to saying scheduled for with the date that you've given. You'll also notice that if you've changed the publication date, the publish button will change to a schedule button, which you can see here. So in this example, I'm going to schedule my post, but if you didn't want to change that date, you wouldn't have to mess around with that at all, and you would just have to hit publish. Now, the last thing that you can do in this box that's quite important is hit preview. So if you click preview, what you'll get is a new tab will open up showing you what this post will look like. When you hit preview, you'll actually see what your post is going to look like in your site. And of course, what it looks like is going to be dependent on what WordPress theme you have active. So here we can see my post. This is a cool website with all my content, including the headings that I've added, as well as the image here. And you'll see that in this site, the image that I put as the featured image is actually being represented in the header at the top here. So that's that. I definitely recommend using the preview button often as you're posting, because sometimes the end result might not look exactly like what you want, because even though the WordPress post editor is what we call a what you see is what you get editor, it doesn't exactly reflect the fonts that might be in use on your actual website. So use the preview option often, make sure you save your post as a draft often, and you should have good luck with creating WordPress posts.